I'm training to run a 100-mile ultramarathon. Welcome to my vlog, episode 17. Today we talk about the 2 weeks training block where I was able to put in some pretty strong mileage ahead of next season. Hi, Simon here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my vlog. On my channel, you can follow my adventure as I'm racing 100-mile ultramarathon, and I'm also providing a lot of tips video to help you get out there and have your own adventure. Today on the vlog, we explored the past 2 weeks of training, which were very productive weeks of training. It was peak training ahead of next year's season. And there's a lot to cover, so let's start right away. If we talk about the broader context of these 2 weeks are the last 2 weeks of a 3 weeks training block where I do high mileage, and it will be followed by a week of rest, which happened to coincide with Thanksgiving. Of course, that's not a coincidence. I planned it this way. Also, as opposed to this summer or this fall where I was racing 100-mile ultramarathon on average, every 2 or 3 weeks. This time, it's been about a month since my last race, so I was able to really get some good recovery and then have high volume training to get back my fitness, to get back stronger for next year. What I was trying to do with these 2 weeks was to run about 60 to 70 miles in total, but also importantly, including elements that are extremely important in a training schedule beyond just the mileage itself. So we're talking about things like back-to-back long runs, speed workout, strength session, and some rest and recovery. And we start the week with a big bang, a 16-mile run with a lot of elevation gain. It was going up and down, up and down, up and down a mountain. Therefore, Tuesday, to reduce mileage, I decided to do my strength session, a little bit of mileage with Nora. Nora is getting better slowly. We do some walking, we do some jogging, so it's good to be together with her. So a little bit of walking, small strength session, and then a cool down. On Wednesday, I finally took back my bicycle and I commute biking. I did it a few times. Sometimes it's difficult for me, especially at this time of the year, to use the bicycle to go to work. We don't live in a place where there is snow, but it gets dark very early and very often. It's kind of a little bit sketchy, but I wanted to be able to include a little bit of cross training. So I was able to take my bike, have the motivation to do that. And for that day, I had a speed workout session. I did 5 times 4-minute intervals. Can't remember the pace, but it was pretty fast. I was absolutely super tired. When I did that, it was the end of the day, then I hopped on my bike and I was feeling it. It was really a good workout for that, so very productive already. We're talking 3 days in the week and we had hill training, long run, we had a strength session, and we had an intervals. On Thursday, we have a strength session, so 2-mile warm up, strength session for 30 minutes, 4 miles cool down. On Friday, I had planned to run 6 miles, but because of work, I was not able to do that. And because I didn't really have a full rest day that week, it felt like it was quite appropriate. So good timing, I took a day off. On Saturday, I was planning to do 13 miles, but still 6 miles in zone 2 was a decent training leading up for the next day, which on Sunday, I ran the equivalent of a marathon. I ran to the gym, so that's about 5 miles, and then I was running on the treadmill. So it was, in fact, just one session, broken down maybe by the time to get to the treadmill and started, but it was not 2 separate ones. It was a marathon. I followed that by a little bit of sauna. So for that week, about 65 miles, and all of the elements of a good training week were there. It got a little bit messy in terms of work, and I didn't exactly follow the plan that I had. But sometimes you need to adapt your training plan, and making these adjustments, you can still get a really good week of training despite all of these things. So we're entering the second week. I took my bike again. I was a good boy, very happy about that. It sounds silly, but this is the one thing that I really struggled to maintain consistency. And Monday itself was mostly a rest day, so I did a little bit of a shakeout run, 2 miles. I was supposed to do more than that. I was supposed to do 6 miles, but I was actually feeling a little bit sluggish, and I felt that maybe I should really take a 0 day or a day with very low mileage so that I can have a productive week, as opposed to just kind of carrying not injuries, but just a little bit of soreness that prevents me from having good workout. And that worked out great because Tuesday I was again a good boy. I took my bicycle, but importantly, I had a tempo run for 8 miles running at 9 miles per hour. So it's pretty fast for me. I was really tired after that. I was really pushing the limit of what I can do in about an hour of running. Wednesday was a little bit of a mess. It was supposed to be a strength training session. I started great, took my bike to work. So again, good job, Simon. Eventually, I went back home. I didn't have time to work out, so I decided to do my workout in the evening. Strength training session, so a little bit of a warm-up, 30-minute strength session, and a cool down. On Thursday, I had a zone 2 run, a 10-mile run, so it's not exactly a super long run for me, but it's not exactly a short run either, and the goal was to go slow as much as possible, and I ended up doing only 6 miles, but it was decent. And really, so far in the week, I felt that I was able to thread the needle of putting in the mileage, but also focusing on quality, and I knew that a lot of mileage was coming up very soon in the weekend. Because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, my goal was to put in a lot of mileage. That was the end of the 3-week block period. And I didn't really have so far back-to-back long run. And I felt that was the key element that was missing in my training, in my whole training block for, say, the past month. So what I did is 12 mile on Friday in zone 2, really aiming to go slow so that I would not be all banged up going into the weekend. Saturday, I went with Nora. We went on trail for 10 mile, and most of it was jogging. If you've been following my channel, you know that from the Tour du Mont Blanc adventure, Nora unfortunately had a pretty severe injury, twisted her ankle, some tears in there. That was about 3 months ago. A lot of PT, a lot of recovery exercise, and it's a slow progress, but to be back together again on trail, and that was not our first time, but this time she was able to run much more. And of course, it was painful. Of course, it is still a challenge, and of course, there's a long road ahead in terms of recovery, but it felt really good to see that progress and to be back on trail together. So 10 mile together. Then I added 4 miles just for good measure so that I would do more than a half marathon. On Sunday, I decided to do another marathon just like the week before. Again, it's divided in different segments, but it's simply for logistic reason. I ran to the gym, ran on the treadmill, then went back home running instead of taking the car. And that means that over the weekend, I did about 40 miles. And if you include Friday on that, that's about 52 miles. So a lot of mileage in these 3 days. And I can say mission accomplished in terms of back-to-back long run. For the week itself, that's about 75 miles. So it's even more than I was targeting originally. But I just saw with the weekend that it was a good idea to do a 13-miler followed by a marathon. And I'm very happy with that. Also very happy with the quality of the workout that I was able to put in. I only had one strength training session, so I aim for 1 or 2. So that fits that criteria. And I aim for 1 or 2 sessions of speed work. I only had one, but one fits within 1 or 2. And given that the focus of that week was much more the lot of mileage on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and taking some rest day, I think it was very well balanced. And that one session that I had, which was a REM session up to 9 miles an hour, was a very good workout. I was really pushing to the limit of what I could accomplish. And it was also a good way to gauge myself and to gauge the fitness that I have. And so with that, over the past 2 weeks, I put in about 25 hours of training altogether, a lot of quality time also. It's not just mileage, it's good mileage. It's back-to-back long runs, it's speed work, it's strength sessions. So all of the good elements of a good training block. And it feels great. I hadn't had that in a very long time. And I even feel the progress. It might be psychological, but I feel that the first week of my 3 weeks block, I was a little bit more sluggish. And towards the end, I can run a marathon in training and it feels good to be back there. I know that I still have a little bit of fitness to gain back. And hopefully in the weeks that are coming up, I can get that before my next race. And right now the plan is racing across the year at the end of December as my first 100 miler or my next 100 miler. So I still have another full block that I can dedicate to having really good training. And that's really important to get back my fitness, get back in shape ahead of next year, because I have a lot of really cool adventure that I'm planning, which I'm going to share probably around New Year. And that's usually the time that I share these. And that's it, folks. For the people in the US, happy Thanksgiving. I'm probably going to post that after Thanksgiving. I'm going to spend some time with the family. Of course, I plan my training block accordingly, knowing that Thanksgiving is not exactly the time to go crazy in terms of mileage, and rather take time with family and just to rest in general. But I'll get back at it in 1 week. In my next vlog, I think what I'm going to do, since there won't be as many workouts because there will be 1 week of recovery, I'm going to walk you through how I plan my training block, how I work out my calendar to have all of the key elements that I'm talking about in these vlogs, where I go a little bit more day by day. But we're going to step back a little bit, look at the month and think, okay, what am I going to do in December to prepare for across the year? As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.
Heads